En 1991, Punto Límite se convirtió en la primera película de acción protagonizada por Keanu Reeves. Después pasó a ser este actor que hizo Matrix, John Wick, Máxima Velocidad y un montón de películas más. Hablé con Peter Iliff, el guionista de esta producción, que estuvo en el rodaje y me pudo contar algunos detalles referidos a cómo fue hacer esta película, pero también me contó sobre los homenajes que vio en Hot Fuzz y Cazadores de Mitos, y también sobre un regreso que va a tener esta película en forma de serie y que va a contar con la participación de uno de los clásicos personajes de esta película.
We now return to Mira Akien and Contre with our latest interview.
Rick King. Rick King is the director. Directed a film of mine called Prayer of the Roller Boys. And he had this idea about surfers that rob banks. And his idea was kind of like they were high school kids. And I didn't have a lot else, but it was an interesting idea. And he found some money from some producers, and they paid me $6,000 to write the script. And after about, we did a draft, and I did a second draft and a third draft, and at that point we thought it was ready. And it was the miracle of miracles. It sold to Columbia Pictures, which is now Sony Pictures, and it sold for like $500,000.
It's a state of mind. It's that place where you lose yourself and you find yourself. You don't know it yet, but you got it. It's right there. It's not tragic to die doing what you love.
Ridley Scott was the director. He was fresh off of Blade Runner and Alien, but he was doing it with his. He was in post on his fifth film, which was Someone to Watch Over Me, and so he was the director. And after 5 months of him putting it together and building the sets and doing we were doing rewrites and whatnot, the studio changed hands. David Putnam left Columbia, and Don Steele came in. And in that day, the project, Charlie Sheen and James Garner were going to star, and Willem Dafoe was going to play Bodhi, and James Garner's Pappas, and the film fell apart, and it would be made 4 years later with Larry Gordon, who had started Largo Films over at Fox, and this was his first film of his production company, and the director was the amazing Catherine Bigelow, who was then married to Jim Cameron. And it's no secret that Jim Cameron did the final polish on the screenplay.
Yeah.
And so he kind of turbocharged it.
FBI! Freeze! Special Agent John, Utah, day number 1 in L.A. Welcome aboard.
No one wanted Keanu. Keanu was not a star yet. I guess he'd done Bill and Ted's.
Yeah.
And he'd done some smaller independent films, which were really great, but he was not by any means an action star, was he? So it was Catherine Bigelow who fought for him.
Yeah.
No one wanted him, and Catherine alone fought for Keanu Reeves, and it's all he owes her a big debt for making him an action star. It was always very funny watching Keanu in the parking lot. When we were staying down at the Santa Monica Pier, he'd have his shirt off, trying to get a tan, and he'd be throwing a football with a coach, and just trying to learn how to properly throw a football like a Rose Bowl quarterback, which is no easy thing.
Yeah.
And he was, I remember he was really trying to put on weight because he never had to do a role where he had to be, jacked, and. So he was working really hard to put on some muscle, because Swayze already had it. Patrick Swayze, who they called Buddy, lived with the stunt guy. He lived with Gromit and Roach and those guys. They had a place together, and they all have the fondest memories of Patrick Swayze.
Yeah.
Everybody loves Patrick Swayze.
Adios, amigo!
He would do his own stunts. If you notice the scene in the airplane when he goes, they're in the airplane. He's going to do that. He's going to roll backward out of the flight, and jump into Mexico. it's all one shot. He actually did it. He actually delivers his line to camera. The camera does not cut, and he rolls backward and flies out of the plane.
Yeah.
I mean, what a stud. What a stud. Keanu did not skydive. He was on a rig, but Patrick skydived.
Yeah.
And the rest of the scenes, the skydiving, we're stunt doubles, and we're in a giant tower with a giant fan at the bottom, and they kind of blow them up in the air, and apparently at one time that fan broke, and one of the cameramen was Jim Cameron's brother, and so everybody crashed when the power went out, and he severely hurt his back, Jim Cameron's brother, which apparently is the story. But obviously Keanu was awesome, but it was just that, Patrick Swayze is an exceptional dancer and exceptional athlete, and he was always, people were very frightened about him getting hurt because he wanted to do everything himself. It sure was a thrill to see Anthony Kiedis. I mean, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, even then, they were just breaking, and they were amazing. Yeah. And his character was named Tone. Not a lot of people know that it was Tone, because he was the musician. And we're hoping to bring him back. It looks like we're gonna bring back a Point Break TV series pretty soon.
Yeah, for who?
Yeah.
Where and when?
I'm not gonna give you any other details other than that we're working very hard on it, and Anthony Kiedis' character is being written into it.
Nobody move! Keep your hands up and your eyes down!
We are the ex-presidents.
Why did you choose this? I don't know if I can remember four or five presidents that you write into this story. They use the mask. Why those presidents?
It was originally, you call in America, you call money dead presidents, because in American money, it's got George Washington, Abe Lincoln, and some of our early presidents. So there's just a slang word that money is dead presidents. So the early drafts, the bank robbers were dressed like George Washington and Abe Lincoln. And when we started to do it, we realized that's kind of silly. It'd be much cooler if they were, the ex-presidents. And so they became Nixon and Reagan, and that was more fun.
Yeah. Did you have any backlash because the way that maybe you portray these historical characters that maybe some people might...
No, the only backlash, and you probably read about it, was... there were a lot of copycat robberies, bank robberies.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's happened in a lot of films where there's crimes. There were a number of copycat ex-president robberies.
What do you think of the homage they did to the movie?
Oh, it was lovely. It was really flattering. The most flattering thing was here in Los Angeles and across America, there was Point Break Live, which was a theater play, and it was hilarious. It was there was literally two different troupes doing it all over the country.
You have this in Mythbusters, the Discovery show. They proved that it wasn't like 100% accurate, the skydiving scene. Did you see that?
No, I didn't. Were they saying when Keanu jumped out of a plane without a parachute?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, can you tell?
That was Jim Cameron's stunt.
Who did the research for all those, maybe physics, or was it just okay? I can imagine this can happen. Just write this is fiction. We can do whatever we want.
All I know is, I wrote the original skydiving scenes, but Jim Cameron told a story about literally on an airplane flying above Spain, of all places. I remember that. I was flying above Spain. I had this idea, and it was the idea that if Keanu had jumped without a parachute, which is ridiculous for a second-time skydiver to do. But that aside, the idea that once he's clinged on to Patrick Swayze, he would have to let go of the gun to pull the ripcord.
Yeah.
because he has to hold on with the other hand. So that was what intrigued Jim Cameron and Catherine Bigelow to that stunt, was that he would have to give up the gun. And give up the gun, pull the ripcord, and hold on. And so that was one of Jim Cameron's additions. And when I saw it, I was kind of like, oh my God, but most people like it. But I think a lot of people who skydive know that it's, that it takes roughly about 50 jumps to learn to have that kind of body control.
Yeah.
Because when you skydive, and I've just learned a little bit about it over the years, you cannot control your body. To learn how to control your body like a missile, like the stunt double did, takes about 50 jumps.